he likes.
So yeah, and in terms of the importance of in-vehicle infotainment systems, specifically in electric vehicles, so in EVs, I want to talk about this quickly because, it's not entirely logical that infotainment systems developed so fast and you have all these touchscreens specifically for electric vehicles. That could have been the case with another classic combustion engine as well. So does something come to your mind why you think it developed maybe through or due to all these new electric vehicles further?
I think first point, from the OEM's point of view, from the car company's point of view, the image they want to keep for e-cars is very futuristic. And of course they're selling that for still nowadays for a higher price premium. So they actually would have the budget to invest in it, I would say. And also from the customer profile perspective, I think the people who actually would go for an EV instead of normal cars are those people who has more preference with their lifestyle, want to show an attitude with their cars. And those people, I think they do also likely to have a preference of a more fancy, more interesting infotainment systems for them. Yeah. So they would also preferably go for the IVI system that is more advanced.
So it adds on to the innovative design, which we define of one of the fun factors, which you could define as fun.
Yeah, of course.
That you want to have an electric vehicle, and it should be something innovative in the design. And that includes the infotainment system and the interior, which is obviously combined. I do also brought two advocating factors for the evolution of these in-vehicle infotainment systems in EVs specifically. And I think one is in the vehicle, and the other one is, still growing and developing outside of the vehicle, the infrastructure. What I mean by that specifically in EVs, the driver must be alerted to more factors throughout the process, throughout the interface. There would be specifically the battery, the battery charge level, capacity and battery percentage, and remaining driver distance, driving distance, yeah. And as we saw earlier with the example of the gamification of the Toyota Prius, you need definitely a bigger map. So that's why you need a bigger screen. You really always want to know where you are. Where's your next infrastructure? You're really dependent on that way more. And one of the fun parts we mentioned is you can accelerate fast, but it is also obviously it also costs more gas if you do that in a combustion engine.
Yes.
But with a battery, it's more important to have that somewhere on your screen and you have an overview of that
because it's not easy to charge it anywhere.
Yeah, it takes time and you have to think through. Even if I find the next infrastructure, it takes at least now some time to charge. So if you want to have all this fun with a roadster, as we saw earlier, so these factors in electric vehicles, really, make their way into the infotainment system, which is some distinguishing factor between a combustion engine car and electric vehicle, which comes together in an infotainment system.
Mm-hmm. And while we're talking, another point came into my mind. It's because you always need to wait nowadays for sometimes fastest one, 15 minutes, 20 minutes to charge it to full. What are you doing with your time when it's charging, right? If you're sitting in the car, better you have something to play with. Maybe that's another reason.